Hi, this is Dr. Pachenik, and I'd like to address Nancy Pelosi, who I find to be exceedingly cute and pristine with her little dress, and tries to explain what the Republic is, but unfortunately she's become dumb and dumber. I don't mean it as an insult, Nancy, but there are things that you're going to have to learn. Number one, our founding fathers, which was a term coined by Warren Harding that was not indigenous to the Constitution, were people who were very normal. And in fact, many of them were like Trump. And let me give you an example. The very man that you lauded, Benjamin Franklin, was a polymath. He had many businesses. He was in a lot of different activities. And guess what? He had two wives, one wife in Philadelphia, one in London. And more importantly, like Trump, he liked to play around with all the women, and he was in a company called the Hell's Fire Club. So I'm so glad you quoted him, because he is the personification of the person that Trump became. The second thing is that most of the founding fathers really didn't like you or the Democrats or liberals. They called it the tyranny of the masses. The reason there was a republic, sweetheart, was the fact that they did not want a democracy. They had been frightened by Eric Robespierre, who killed Louis XVI in France. And then guess what happened? Napoleon Bonaparte came to power, and he was a dictator. So that's exactly what the founding fathers were afraid of. They were afraid of you. They were afraid of Schiff. They were afraid of Nadler, because you guys want progressive and you want everybody to vote and have equal opportunities. Well, that's not what they wanted. They wanted the capability to have that opportunity, but that there would be representatives like you and others, both in the federal government and in the state government. They did not want the tyranny of the masses, and that's what it was called. Then we go to Alexander Hamilton, a man who was incredible, and then he got into a discussion and fight with Aaron Burr, and Burr shot him, and the Burr was arrested for treason. So what exactly are you concerned about when you're impeaching Trump? Let me talk about George Washington, an illiterate man, not really very intellectual, really not all that smart, but he was one of the individuals who fought for 8 years. Now, the reason the revolution was 8 years, and you've got to study this, is because we were always retreating. And if it hadn't been for the French, we have to thank the French here, they defeated the British in the last battle after 8 years of fighting. So now we have James Madison, and we have Alexander Hamilton, and we have Thomas Jefferson. Now, you love Thomas Jefferson. I like him. I'm not particularly enamored of him, and I'll tell you why. Thomas Jefferson was from the South, and he and James Madison had property right next to each other. I went to see it in Charlottesville, Virginia. Go down there. And what you would notice is not only is he the founder of UVA, but he also seduced all of his black maids and slaves. And both were very firm slave holders. And in fact, he had Sally Hemings, who was his, quote, unofficial wife, seduced her and had a whole group of kids who were African American, but he never admitted to it. But when you reified Thomas Jefferson or James Madison, thank you again, the Democratic Party is supporting slavery. So again, Nancy, you've got to understand what the Constitution was really about. It was about men who understood the failures of other men. I don't mean men sui generis male, I mean in general. And in fact, Aaron Burr would have appreciated somebody like Donald Trump, because they understood they wanted somebody who was not in politics, somebody who had created their own business, somebody who was very American, and somebody who would not go along with the masses. Guess what, Nancy? You just found the person whom you wanted. Let me tell you the following. Ignorance is bliss. But in this case, Nancy, I really believe you and Schiff and Sandler, be careful of the following. People in glass houses should not throw stones. Good luck and good night.